I'll be discussing the first question of critical reflection. Today's women have significant improvement as they are now independent, strong, well educated, and most importantly, career oriented. They now have more leadership roles and they now know how to fight for their rights. But unfortunately, many women are still facing challenges and limitations due to gender discrimination and traditional roles. Males still have the dominating power and they still think that women are a source of attraction. They are weak, hence using, torturing, and assaulting them. In my film, I'll be talking about this issue in which females are not given rights. Instead, they are used for their bodies, which is correctly described in the male gaze theory. And yes, the main character of my film had a nightmare in which, due to her lacking a little drinking, she was trapped by a man who kidnapped her, raped her, and left the lady on the road to die. Now, not just that, though I wanted to comment on our society's perspective of rape victims. Society still thinks that it must be the female's fault. She must have worn a lot of makeup, dressed inappropriately, or she shouldn't have gone out with a stranger, or she should have been more aware. Even in my film, she was all alone and no one was there to help her. Even in the bar, when she fainted, no one helped her or called the police. That is why the male was able to kidnap her. Even when she was on the road in that condition, a car passed by her but left her. Because still, the society has a victim-blaming attitude, which suggests that somehow the female is responsible for the assault and may point the questions like, what was she wearing? Or was she out alone? Or she must have led him on. These attitudes suggest that somehow she deserved the assault or that it was her fault. And yes, the woman is somehow tainted after the assault. No one will marry her and her life is finished. This is a social issue I wanted to highlight, and unfortunately, these are the conventions that I wanted to discuss. Talking about the genre conventions, there are different types of genre conventions. Firstly, I'll be talking about the technical conventions of a thriller film. These types of films are characterized by their suspenseful and often tense atmosphere, which is typically involve a high-stakes plot with a sense of danger and impending doom. In my film, I have mostly followed the conventions of a typical thriller film, like unsettling music to create a feeling of dread and sudden sound effects. Talking about cinematography, a thriller film has a great focus on camera angles and lighting. For that, I have used low angle and close-up, two extreme close-up shots to create tension and to make the character look more intimidating, while the darkness in my film creates a sense of unease. For the editing of a thriller film, I started off slow with a slow-paced music, but with the intensity of the scene, it changed to a very deep, unsettling music and fast-paced cuts. Moving on to the lighting is following the conventions as the entire movie takes place at night in low-key lighting. Talking about the concept itself, it is a terrifying dream composed of reality inspired by the film It Comes at Night, a film which used horror thriller in the dream sequence. Now, talking about the social and cultural aspect of my film, in which stereotypically how films use age and gender, in which the victims are usually women, which are suppressed under a dominating power. However, at the beginning of the film, the conventions were broken as both were given equal status. The woman looked happy, independent, and strong. But as the story continues, the movie begins to follow the typical conventions in which the woman was tortured, raped, and assaulted. On the other hand, talking about the age, I have followed the typical conventions with both seems to be in their teenage and have just begun to explore romantic relationships and curious or anxious about dating. In conclusion, my film chose a conventional route in all the aspects like editing, lighting, sound, and age, as I wanted to raise awareness about the reality of sexual assault and its impact on the victim. Thank you.